we move this out of the way.
We basically had three problem areas when we were making this film. The first was with the tracking. The second was with the discrepancy between the position of the projected image and the position of the dancer's feet. And the last was what we eventually established was a processing delay. Once we got everything rigged up, the projector, the camera and the ceiling, the white flooring down, the camera set up to film, the programme running, the first thing was to get the patch to track the dancers. So to do this I had to give it a colour to recognise and to lock onto. But at first it seemed to be taking an average position of the two dancers and projecting in between them, which is what I expected to happen. Later it started to oscillate between the dancers, projecting ripples in both places alternately. So it created the illusion of two projections, which I was quite pleased about this because I thought I was going to have to alter the programme to recognise two sources. The troubles we had were that the programme would sometimes be too sensitive. It would get stuck on things like a dark crease in the floor. But we fixed this by pulling the sheet tauter, but then later when we tried projecting a darker colour, it started tracking what it was projecting and getting stuck in a loop which got progressively stronger as it projected more ripples onto the same spot. We tried fiddling with the tracking sensitivity and changing the damping so that the ripples dispersed more quickly. We opted on this occasion to stick to projecting lighter colours because that worked before. And actually the paler colours look better in real life than the dark blue, but obviously the blue looks better on film because you can see it much more clearly.
Like the first one, before you moved it, I think that was because I could control it. So what you need is that we can control it. No, now, because it's changing. Before it was really, like with big...
It was instant the first time around.
And when you corrected it, you moved everything, and now it's...
It is slow.
Yeah, it's too slow. And then
It's because I'm really low on battery, I think.
Oh. Do you want to get power?
Get power, go again
For a long time we couldn't understand why the ripples would sometimes follow really well and sometimes they would lag behind and judder. I thought it was because the laptop was running out of power, but we tried plugging it in and that didn't change anything. The consensus was that the programme was getting a backlog of information to process and slowing down, because when we left it for a little while or I cleared the programme it started to follow again.
Yeah, somewhere in between what you've got now and what it was.
That's quite nice.
I can play alone first. Okay, put the music. Wait, I'll remember that point.
Exactly, it makes some dramatic movements, Gonzalo.
Another problem we encountered was the positioning of the projection, and we also had to compensate for the angle of the projector, which was different from the tracking camera. And we decided to do this by shifting the image projected by the projector rather than changing anything in the Max MSP patch.
Yeah, you can physically move it. If you just pull it slightly towards you, physically, it's fine, it's attached.
So we had to compromise. If we pointed the projector straight down, the shadows would have been directly under the dancer's feet and very strong, so better for tracking. But the projection area would have been smaller, so the dancers wouldn't have had so much space to move in. The other problem with having the projector angled differently was that the position would never be perfect. It could be perfect in some places, but not everywhere. So the dancers had to experiment and do some work to find where the spots where it would work to create the illusion that it was exactly under their feet all the time.
Let me find it. You were right, okay, you were right. It's more.
There, which is more or less on feet now, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
moved down a bit.
That's good.
As long as it's on feet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good.